Good morning. It's the 8th. My name is Beck. Welcome to my channel, What the Beck. I am playing today with my yarn. Let me show you. So my scrap yarn bins have been getting like way too full. So I just decided let's cake them into multicolor cakes to make plushies or scarves or all kind of stuff. So I've kind of grouped them by what I think would look good together. And we're just gonna cake them up. So I already did a few of them, and then I realized you're supposed to be filming. So I'm just gonna like, where did my spinner go? I'm just gonna put them together and ramble a little. Usually I like double strand stuff together, but depending on how thick they are, when I combine them, it might not be the best idea to do that. So I'm going to start with the really thin ones. I have kind of reached out into using thinner yarn for socks in particular, but I don't use stuff that's super small all the time. So especially when it's like a scrap yarn amount, I like caking them together to make a double strand yarn on the go, and then I can use that for smaller projects or scrap busters and that kind of stuff. I'm hoping this isn't too loud to listen to. But yeah, I can basically turn the thin yarn into thicker yarn that I will be more likely to use. And it also kind of condenses them, so like whenever you recake a yarn, it gets a little more compact. And I was actually thinking about that yesterday, where I was like, I know people say don't cake your yarn before you're ready to use it, and I do not subscribe to that at all. I feel like if I don't cake it, then it's not ready to go when I'm ready to use it. So I like to do it before I necessarily even have an idea, or just right when I get the yarn, especially for a secondhand yarn. Sometimes they have like bits of dust in them, and that kind of helps take them out. But yeah, so now this is a slightly thicker yarn because it's 2 strands at once, and I end up with like a bunch of them. Whoops. And then I can like throw them together. I'm thinking of making like a scrap yarn baby blanket for like donating. I'm not sure how big that should be, but I want to make one with my camp blanket pattern, because that one is doing pretty well, and you know, why not ride the high of that? So maybe I'll make a baby blanket when I get back from Florida. So this also was just like I said, things that I get secondhand. I don't necessarily know why, but sometimes the store will separate stuff into smaller balls or cakes, and it's the same yarn. So like that's what happened with this one. So I'm just gonna cake this single yarn back with the other half of it so that it's ready to go. And this one I'm pretty sure is wool, so I'll make sure to put that up with my wool scraps upstairs. But now it's all in one piece. So next I think I'm going to do the purple, and I think I'm going to start with this one because it's kind of bulky, and then I'm going to combine some once this runs out to like become a bulky weight to attach to it. So I will show you how I do that. This one is kind of tangled, so let's see how it goes. I got my bag packed for Florida yesterday, so that is good to go. So I'm literally just sitting here not knowing what to do with myself. I have these other 2 textured yarns that I'm going to add to this purple one. So I'm going to take this multicolor ball and this one here, which is kind of like chromatic. It's actually really pretty. I'm going to put those together and just attach them to make them a similar weight to the bulky one, like you can see. This bulky yarn is actually the, is it Lion Brand Homespun? And I used to dislike this yarn, but now I know like a few ways to work with it that work for me, and it's so much easier. Basically I just use a larger hook and make sure to do a pattern that it's not really easy to notice if you miss a stitch, or like granny stitch, you work into the what's it called, the spaces between the clusters, so it's easy to put your hook into the space rather than the top of a stitch, and you don't really need to look super closely at what you're doing. And if you accidentally do a half double crochet, who cares, because it's super like fluffy and large. I also have a project in the bag that I'm throwing my scraps into to spin up, so sorry if that blue yarn keeps showing up. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just do a little bit of that light purple, and then I'm going to actually add one of these other textured ones in, and I think this one is bulky too, so I'll cut this and attach it. These like scrap cakes, or they're not the cakes of the little scraps, but like the ones that I make with them, they're actually pretty fun to use, especially for plushies, or you could literally make anything with them. As long as the gauge or like the size of the yarn is somewhat consistent, it's actually really fun to just like knit straight up garter stitch or stockinette stitch with them, or like crochet something really simple, because the yarn itself kind of does a lot of the talking, I guess. So let's see, who do I want to put next? These two are kind of similar to this. I think I'm gonna go with this one and save this one to attach for when this runs out. So yeah, I don't usually buy like brand new yarn, so not all of these scraps are things I've worked with before. The local reuse store near me, which if you watch my channel you might remember the name is SCRAPPY. I love that place. They have a deal every time you go. It's like always active. The deal is you fill a grocery bag with yarn for $5, and it's only restricted to certain like pieces of the stock, but it's very easy to get a bunch of scraps that way, because you get the yarn you like initially see and have ideas for and put in your bag, but then you're like, oh well, I have to finish filling up this bag, I gotta get my $5 worth. So that's how I end up with a bunch of like random pieces, and like they're not necessarily from a project that I've done. So yeah, I love this one. I wish I had enough of this fluffy yarn to make a pop rock plushie or like a hat or something, but I just didn't. I think I used it in a witch hat before, like I really textured witch hat. So that was fun. But okay, so now I'm kind of running out of purples. So this one and this one, we could do another stripe of this, and then I have this one, which is really similar to the other one I used. So what I might end up doing is just attaching it, and then once the other yarn runs out, I'll unroll the ball and like attach the other end of the yarn to the new loose end of the other ball. I'll show you what I mean when I get there. But that's like a trick you could do when spinning yarn too, is like if you run out of one of your plies of yarn before the other, you can just apply it with itself, I guess, with the other end. So it also reduces the waste of the material. I mean, I don't know, because I feel like it's just common sense. Like, if you have some left on there, you gotta finish turning it into yarn, because that's good stuff right there. Okay, so this is what I mean. I'm kind of out of what I want to add to this, so I'm just gonna like peel off the layers of this until I find the center and attach it to the old yarn here. So it'll be the same color at the start of the cake, but sometimes that can look pretty good. I mean, well, the color is pretty, so it's gonna look good anyway, but like, that way I don't have to, you know, cut off the end and use it for scrap automatically, which sometimes I do that with these yarns, because if I have a color that like would work really good with another one, but I don't feel like, I don't even remember what I said. What was I talking about? I literally don't remember. Sorry, I got ADHD. But like, look how cool that is. And there's no yarn like this in the store. I mean, I think there's some that try to like add different textures, but like, this is a one-of-a-kind cake. I don't know that I could get a whole hat out of that, but like, maybe if I striped it with a solid color or black or something, that could be fun. Okay, so now what I want to do is the black with other stuff. So I have these, where's the end? I have, oh my goodness. Okay, black, right? Black looks good with everything. So why not stripe it with everything? So I have all of these like super little thin scraps, so I'm gonna just attach them to this, and I think I'm gonna start with this gray here. And when you're doing multi-strand yarns, I just like tie the end together, because I feel like it's gonna help you be able to like find the start without the one end getting lost. But yeah, I'll show you what this looks like once I finish it. Doesn't that look so cool? And it's got a bunch of scraps in it. And they always feel like they take up less space after you spin them up. So here is my little collection of the multi-stranded scrap balls that I made. I'm actually going to take this one to D&D right now to make a hat with it. And after that, I'm going to Florida. So let's go.
You can wear a cloak.
Aww.
Okay. So yeah, you want to grab some
whatever
armor?
this is.
I mean,
Michael's getting armor.
Who?
Oh, what's your name?
I specialize in light armor. Does anybody else need light armor?
Take the light armor. You specialize in it. And then you had what? Did you have other armor with you?
I just have regular studded leather.
Let me see.
Regular studded? Okay, give it, and then he'll take the studded.
Goober.
Alright.
So then you take the...
7 damage.
Yep.
Okay.
If the 20 doesn't hit, I don't want to play this game anymore.
You strike it in directly between the eyes.
So after D&D, I made it to Florida, and this is how much of that hooded scarf I got done. It's actually a hooded cowl, so it wraps around like this, and I really like it so far. It definitely needs a good blocking and a few more rows, but I'm gonna wait until after my trip to finish that on the other plane ride. I'm then moving on to working on my Arctic Light sweater, which is like pretty close to being done. I actually got a bit more done on the length of it today. I kind of want it to reach down to a little below my hips and then add the ribbing. So this is me estimating about how much more work I'll need to do. And yeah, I started the sleeves today too. I ended up having a bunch of stitches fall off after I tried it on. But then, of course, Nyla helped me out by encouraging me to put them all back on the needles, and nothing was lost permanently. And here's Mocha. She was my supervisor of the day, taking place of Baby and just ensuring that the yarn was really good quality. And yeah, that was pretty much most of what I worked on today was this red sweater. I actually got to a point where I'm worried about running out of yarn, and I'm not sure that I even had enough to start with. So I'm basically skipping the ribbing on the bottom of the body until I have both sleeves done, because if worst comes to worst, I have some similar red yarn at home that I think I can just use for the ribbing, and it won't be as noticeable if it changes at the ribbing versus in the middle of the cable rows. So there's that. I also did some POV knitting for you here. And sorry about the weird cropping. I filmed it with the booby trick, even though I don't have any of those. I just like had my phone in my shirt leaning forward to film this. But yeah, let me know if you like to see from this angle, because I can definitely get like a neck mount instead of having to put it in my shirt, and show you some more POV shots maybe while I'm chatting, because I feel like my current camera angle for chatting and working is not the most ideal. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this video, and here is Blue to say hello and just help me log off here. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos from me, especially for Vlogmas, remember to hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!